In today's video, we're talking about how to make money with a webinar. Anyone can slap together a webinar, but it takes a proven strategy to actually use it to sell. So how do you make money with a webinar? First, let's break down the concept of a webinar and what that term really means. And then I'll show you the 4 things you need to prepare before the webinar. Then I'll tell you the 4 things you need to include in your script in order for it to sell. So let's define what is a webinar. It's a sales pitch or a presentation or a training performed live. This can also be pre-recorded, but it's typically a free training where you're providing value and then you're pitching something at the end for how they can take the next step to work with you. So the idea is you're blowing their mind throughout this whole training. You're showing them what's possible for them. You're painting a picture of a result or a change in their life that they might look forward to, whether it has to do with their health or wealth or relationships. And then at the end of the webinar, you're showing them the next step, whether that's pitching them a product or a service or a program that they can join to now implement or get the results that you've just shown them throughout this whole training. Now, your webinar is going to follow a specific format, and there's a few different formats that I've seen. One that I use and that you might want to look into is Russell Brunson's perfect webinar formula. Typically, the idea is you're teaching them something and you're breaking objections for them along the way. You're showing them a new path towards whatever result you're helping them to get to, and you're showing them why your solution is the one that they should follow. You want to provide so much value in this webinar that by the time you get to the pitch presentation at the end, it's a no-brainer. You've positioned what their future might look like with your solution. You've broken any objection that they might have. You've addressed their vehicle, internal and external false beliefs, so that by the time you show them this offer that you have at the end, they're like begging you or throwing their credit cards at you. And this is a really important part of your webinar, is you have to ask for permission to pitch at the end. So something that I might say is, how many of you have loved everything that I've taught you today? How many of you might be feeling overwhelmed because I've taught you so much? How many of you would love some help with actually implementing this and putting it to action? Would you be okay if I spent the next 10 minutes going over a very special offer that I've put together for you today? Now, at that point, you have to wait for them to say yes. If they don't say yes, you don't move forward into the pitch, because if you try to pitch something without them knowing that a pitch is coming, they're gonna feel blindsided, they'll feel maybe offended, and that's not how you're gonna get the sales. So make sure that you've blown their mind throughout the whole webinar. You've maybe taught them 3 things that are going to break their vehicle, internal and external false beliefs. You ask if it's okay, you get the consent that you can pitch them something, and then you go into your sales pitch where you offer them something that's gonna provide them even more value. Have you ever performed a webinar before? Let me know in the comments. Have you? How did it go? Do you like doing webinars? Are you scared of them? Let me know in the comments below how you feel about webinars. Now, there's 4 things you need to prepare before your webinar. I'm gonna go through a list of each one. Get a pen and paper so that you can write down every single one, because you do not wanna miss a single one of these. Before you even think about creating a webinar, you need to know what you're going to be offering them at the end of this webinar. That way you reverse engineer the content of the webinar based on what is coming for them. It wouldn't make sense if you just taught a whole bunch of some subject and then hard U-turn tried to pitch them for something else. It has to make sense and lead up to what's the main objective, what's the call to action of that webinar. Now, the next thing you're gonna need is a list of objections. These are all the reasons that your audience is gonna come up with for reasons why maybe this won't work for them. These are false beliefs that they have that say, no, I can't buy this because, I can't sign up for this because. And typically there's 3 different kinds of false beliefs that they're going to encounter: a vehicle, internal, and external. The vehicle false belief is about the thing itself, whatever that vehicle is that you're trying to sell to them, the thing that's going to help them get to the result. So for me, one of my vehicles may be if I was selling a course about video marketing. They might think video doesn't work for me. I can't do video. Video marketing might work for other businesses, but not for mine. So they have a false belief about the vehicle I'm trying to promote to them. The internal false belief is about something inside themselves. Maybe it's an insecurity or something that they say, well, I can't do this because. An external false belief is something outside of themselves, typically something like the level of support they have or time or money. So it's your job to create stories that are going to help them to overcome those objections. The next thing you need to prepare before launching your webinar is, what are the things that you want to teach them? Russell Brunson's perfect webinar formula follows a 3 secrets format. So it has this headline that's the big promise, what they're going to learn by the end of this webinar, and 3 secrets. And each of those secrets, 1, 2, and 3, are facing of false belief. The secret number 1 might be addressing what we expect your audience might have a vehicle false belief about. Secret number 2 is a story or a concept that's going to help overcome an internal false belief before they even have it. So see, by having these secrets 1, 2, and 3, the third one being an external false belief, you're teaching something, sharing a story, showing some social proof about that concept that is going to help your audience to overcome an objection before that even comes up in their mind. When you have your offer, your list of objections, and your 3 secrets or whatever the content is that you're going to share in your webinar, the next thing that you need is a script or an outline of your entire webinar. Now, typically you want to be introducing yourself and your expertise to your audience, giving them value in a way that overcomes their objections, and then again, segueing into the sale. So have an outline for that, because if you just come into a webinar and think you're just going to ramble and okay, I'll make sure that I remember this and I'll pitch this, it's so much easier for you if you at least have an outline of what you want to speak about in each section. Now, before we move on to the 4 things you need to include in your script, I noticed you haven't subscribed to my channel yet. Go ahead and click that red button below. Make sure you subscribe. Now that we talked about your script, I want to make sure that you have these 4 things that you need to include in your script. Some of them that I've already said, but I really need to hit home how important it is to have these things inside of your script. First of all, remember you have to reverse engineer what you're teaching based on what you are selling at the end of your webinar. One of my favorite strategies for creating the content inside of my webinar that's going to lead to what I'm pitching at the end of it is looking at the offer stack of what I'm selling at the end of it. What's that product or service? What does it include? And I'm going to take little pieces of what I'm including in that offer and teach just a little tease of it. So it opens a loop for them. It creates this cliffhanger that they're like, I need to know more about that. Well, great. I'll teach you more in my offer that if you sign up for the next level, you'll get all the access to that. So anytime you can open loops for your audience is going to be really great towards creating that intrigue and better conversions on the sale. Now, I mentioned that I want you to have a list of objections that you might foresee your audience having, and I want you to categorize them into vehicle, internal, and external false beliefs. And you might even hear these from your audience all the time. This might not be new for you. This might be something that you hear your customers say all the time that then you can create stories around them. The best way for you to overcome those objections is to create a story that's better than your audience's story. And what I mean by that is the story they're telling themselves, why they're saying they can't. Now, for you to share a story, whether it's your own personal story, whether it's a story in the news, on the internet that you can show stats to show here's why this works, or if it's social proof from another audience member or one of your customers who's gotten amazing results based on your system, that's going to help them overcome those objections. So make a list of objections and then make a list of stories to overcome them. Now, I want to emphasize something I had just said. Social proof. In every section of your webinar, you want to include social proof from your current customers, from your previous customers, the results that they've gotten. So you can show this works for people just like you. Here's how. Now, lastly, the last but most important thing you need to include is something called micro closes. This is you getting a micro commitment from your audience by getting them to say yes. Now, this is typically a virtual webinar. Of course, you can perform a webinar style presentation in front of a live audience, but let's just imagine this is over a Zoom webinar. Now, you can utilize the chat to be able to engage with your audience. Now, a micro close is anytime you can get your audience to say yes or to respond. If you were to ask questions like, hey, is anyone getting an aha moment from this? Do you see how this might change your life? Is this something you'd want to implement in your life? So anytime you can get them nodding their head or saying yes in the chat, getting them to respond, you can even get them to respond with a specific question that they answer more than just a yes or no. The more you can get them engaging with you, the more you can get them making that micro commitment of a yes, the more likely you're going to get a final yes at the end of your webinar during the pitch. Now, your webinar should have over 100 micro closes. You want to be asking them questions, getting them to think, yeah, I'd like that. Yeah, that sounds good. Or yes, this is what I've done. Or yes, of course that was a pain point for me. Because the more that they're engaging, you get paid not to the level of content create, but to the level that you get your audience to engage with you. Again, like I said, the more yeses you can get, the more likely you are to get a yes with your final pitch. Now that you know how to make money with a webinar, imagine using that webinar as part of your infinite cash flow loop that effortlessly ascends clients towards your high ticket offer. I've actually gone the extra step for you, and I've laid out the rest of your infinite cash flow loop. This is an ascension model to bring people from your front end all the way to your high ticket. And you can get that just by downloading my infinite cash flow blueprint linked in the description below. You can get that for free. Just click that link below.